Okay, good evening and welcome to Just Daf It, Daf Yevamos. We're learning Yevamos, Daf It tonight, 72. It's the eve of Lag BaOmer, special night in the Jewish calendar. So people living in Israel get their bonfires ready. In America, just go on like any other day. All right, let's pick it up on the bottom of Ayin Aleph and Beis. The Gemara says we're talking about Daf Ayin Aleph. We're talking about that in the midbar they didn't get a milah. Midbar my time alone. Why didn't they get a milah? In the why in Dara Midbar? Why didn't they get a bris milah? They only got one when they came to Eretz Yisrael. Why in the Midbar, the 40 years in the Midbar, they didn't get it? So one answer is because they were weak from traveling, so they didn't have the strength. It would be sakanas nefashos to get a bris milah. Second answer, top of Ayin Beis Amud Aleph, ruach sfonis, because as a punishment that they did for the Meraglim, so Hashem didn't show them favor. They didn't have a northern wind. A northern wind is a favorable wind that disperses the clouds. It brings the sun during the day. Usually Milah is done during the day. We'll discuss that more today. It's done during the day. How you guys doing? Good to see you. It's my friends. Came to join my shir. Not really. They came to learn here. But of course, you're listening to every single word that I'm saying. Have your ears wrapped around what I'm saying. I'm going to say some incredible stuff. You don't even want to know what incredible stuff I'm going to say. No, seriously, sit down. It's fine. I can hear you. So maybe go to the base medrash. It's going to be loud. Try to do it quietly. All right. So the Gemara says, because a northerly wind didn't blow as a punishment in the midbar, and that would have been the sun causing the sun to shine in order to have a refuah from the bris milah. The Taina Kolosa Arbaim Shana. So again, it was Sakanas Fashos. Taina Kolosa Arbaim Shana Shiri Yisrael Midbar. The 40 years in the Midbar, Lonash V'Lam Ruach Sfonis. The northern wind did not blow. My time up. Why didn't it blow? By saying Mishum Denazuvim Havu, because they were censured by Hakadosh Baruch Hu for the Meraglim as a punishment. The second reason, it wasn't a punishment. It was just because they were protected by Nanei Akavo. They were clouds, and if they have this strong northerly wind, it would disperse not only the clouds in the sky, but also Nanei Akava that were protecting them. That would have been bad for them. Therefore, a cloudy day where there's no sun, not only do you not do a bris milah, you also don't bloodlet. I guess today it would be the equivalent would be of getting your blood sampled in a laboratory. Taking a blood test wouldn't do that. On a cloudy day, Yom Shusa Lom Haliman Bay, Velom Sofrinan Bay, you don't get a milah and you don't bloodlet, or you don't get a blood test in the day. The reason being, these days where it's a cloudy day, there's no sun, there's no way of being merape. The sun has a way of healing a person. With the Shusa would be where the south winds, not north winds. South winds are more ferocious. They're destructive winds. The northern wind is a soothing wind. But nowadays, Dashu Barab and people are not careful about this, meaning Shomer P'sayim Hashem, we rely that Hashem will take care of us. The Minhag Olam is what it is, and Hashem will take care of us. So you could do it during the days. Lo haya yom shelo nishra ruach sfonis b'chati alayla. Even though it didn't blow during the day, and they weren't able to get a bris milah during the day, at midnight it would blow, because it always blows at midnight. We know from David HaMelech that would wake him up in the night. Shenemar v'hi b'chati alayla Hashem hika kol b'chor. Time of Makas Bechoros was exactly Chatzos. Why Chatzos? The night. It's a favorable time in Eitzrasim for Hashem that He blows the northern winds. So He also He did a punishment for the Mitzrim at the same time. So it says, "My Talmuda." How does this pasuk show that? So the Hakamashon, the Eitz Ratzon Milsa. He just shows that it was an Eitz Ratzon. Hashem killed the Bechoros, the Makas Bechoros at midnight. So therefore, presumably, if the northern wind is going to blow, it's going to blow for sure during midnight. Where it says, "Amar Rachmuna, Dvar Torah Mashach Ochel B'Truma." A new discussion. A Mashach is somebody who had a bris milah, but either on purpose or by accident got covered again. The arla, the priya was unsuccessful, and the foreskin went ahead again and covered most of the corona. top of the penis, so it covered that. So Vartor Midaraisa, he could eat truma because he had a bris milah. Midivrayim, Gazralam nation Nirek Ariel. The Rabbanan, they said because he looks like an Ariel. If you look at the penis, you would see that it looks like he has an Arla. So therefore, with the Rabbanan, they said you shouldn't get confused with the real Ariel. So they said he shouldn't eat truma. So the Gemara says, Mesive is really true. Mashach sarich shiyamol. Bryce says a mashach has to get a milah. So the Gemara answers midrabanan. No, all it means is that midrabanan, like Rav says, midrabanan needs to get a milah. The karila mat karila. What was the question? We could interpret it obviously meaning midrabanan. The Gemara says asarich kasani. Katoi b'seifa hasarich kasani. All right. It says sarich, so it doesn't mean that he's mechuyev d'oraisa. It could just be the Rabbanan obligated him to get a bris milah. So the Gemara says katoi b'seifa. The mistake was in the sefer. Rabbi Yehuda Omer lo yimol mneisha sakana hilo. Rabbi Yehuda says that he shouldn't get a bris milah mashach because zakana, because he can't see precisely where the arla ends, and you might actually cut off the tip of the penis, which would leave him unable to reproduce. Amru lo, they said back to Rabbi Yehuda, v'alo harve malu may ben koziva v'olidu banu mabanos shenemar himol yimol afilu mea pa'amim. Ben koziva was bar kochva. Rabbi Akiva thought was Mashiach. He rebelled against the Romans after they took Bayesheni, and he liberated Beitar for 2.5 years before he was overthrown and the whole Beitar was destroyed. When he overthrew the Roman governor, Hadrian, the Roman governor of Israel at that point, he darshaned the people. Apparently this was a common problem. People had their orlas for some reason. Maybe they wanted to pretend they weren't Jewish. They pushed it back so they looked like they didn't have a circumcision. He darshans them. He told them they should do this milah. They should do a milah even in this case. And he darshaned a pasuk himol yimol. Double language. I feel mea pamim. You should do a bris milah even 100 times. Even if you're a mashach, you should do a milah. So for Omer, and another proof is brisi hefer l'rabas mashach. Right? Kaddish Baruch, the extra pasuk, you're destroying the covenant of the bris milah. Even if you're just someone's mashach, you had a bris milah, but you're pulling back the foreskin, that would also be a destruction of the covenant. So the Gemara says, "Ma'ava Omer, why did it say a second proof? Himol yimol not telling me to do a milah on a mashach. Himol yimol is when you do the first time of bris milah, you should make sure to even get the tzitzit ma'apenes, a milah, the little strands of skin that remain. You should make sure to get rid of those. Tashma, so therefore, if you think it would mean that, is brisi hefer l'rabas hamashach, until you teach you even a mashach, he also needs a milah. Usavar mintakanatsu la'ashas kra. The fact that Torah brought a pasuk kimol yimal, it sounds midoraisa. Doraisa, Melohi, really not. Midrabanan akras machta ba'alma. Really, Rav Huna was just saying it's from this brayso, it's derabanan, and the kra is an asmach to this. Basically, we're trying to bring a proof against Rav Huna. Tumtum ain't ochel b'truma. Nasha v'avadav ochlin. A tumtum, he's not allowed to eat truma. A tumtum is someone whose genitals are covered. We don't know if he's a man or a woman, and for sure, even if he's a man, he doesn't have a bris milah. So even if he's a Kohen, he can't eat truma because he's an Arel. He's for sure an Arel. He's a Safek Arel. If he's a woman, so he's born to Kohanim, she could eat truma. But if he's a man, he doesn't have a milah, so it's a Safek Doraisa. He can't. It's a Doraisa din that a tumtum can't eat truma, so there he can't eat truma. Nashiv avodav ochlen. But if he somehow got married to a woman, we'll discuss how he gets married to a woman in a second, and he has avodim kanainim, they could eat truma on account of it. Mashach v'nolag shumol. If you have this case of a mashach where you, again, this case where you took the foreskin and you covered over the makol milah again, and no lag shumol, where you're born having a bris milah, and they're kohanim, they could eat because they have a bris milah technically. Mashach androgynous, if you have both male and female genitals, ochel v'truma, he could eat truma because technically we're talking about where he did a bris milah on the male genital. Ve'ena ochel v'kodshim. He can eat truma, but he can't eat kachim. Tumtum ain't ochel lo b'truma v'lo b'kachim. And tumtum, like I said before, he can't eat truma and he can't eat kachim. Ksani mias mashrach v'nolak shumal areilu ochlen. You see, even talking about practically, they're allowed to eat. So you see, even a mashrach is allowed to eat. There's no gzera derabbanan, not like Rav Huna. So the Gemara says, tiyufta, the Rav Huna tiyufta, and indeed is a reputation of Rav Huna We have this proven Rav Huna technically a mashal, since he has a bris milah, he could eat even with the Rabbanan. The Gemara will resurrect Rav Huna on the next daf, but we'll have to discuss that. So the Gemara says, all right, we're going to move a second. It's going to be a shear going on in here. I'm going to move to another room now and for a second to get a little more quiet over here. Bear with me for a second. We're going to move to a different room. Are you giving a shear? Oh, okay. All right. Alright, now we're going to hold it here for a second. They are still diving in other rooms, so I'm going to continue the share here. Alright, just bear with me. We'll figure it out. So the Gemara says, Amar Amar, Tumtum Eino Olcha B'Truma Nashav Avadav Ochlim. So he said in his brisa that Tumtum, he has no genitals. His genitals are covered, so he can't eat truma, but his wives, Nashav, presumably means his wives, and his slaves, Ochlin, Avadim Knainim, that he owns, could eat truma. Nashav L'Tumtum Minalai. How does he have wives? How does a Tumtum have wives? Right? How is he married? Why is that a problem? He laying with a Kaddish. Maybe he's Makadish, a woman, right? A Tumtum goes. He doesn't know he's a man or a woman. He goes, he's Makadish woman. He gives her a ring, right? Tistania Tumtum Shakidish Kedusha Kedushin. A Tumtum that is Makadish, his Kedushim is a Kedushin. The Skadish Kedusha of Kedushin, or if he accepts Kedushin from a man, he or a she, we're not sure what it is, so it is valid Kedushin. So you see that he could have Kedushin. So the word is Amar da Amar Lachumra Lakula Mi Amrina, and that price is talking about it giving a get, right? Because it's a suffix Kedushin, because maybe really it's a man who's Makadish the woman, and maybe the man is Makadish the Tumtum, maybe the Tumtum is really a woman, so it's an effective Kedushin. So therefore the suffix del right, so you have to give a get. You don't want her to marry somebody else while she's still married to someone. That's L'chumra. L'kula mi amrinon. Do we say L'kula over here? I told that. Something that right to that Yishruma. It's getting too loud in here. Gonna have to move. We're gonna find a place. I don't like to stop the shirt in the middle. Oh, you're not even giving the shirt to anyone. Alright. Let's move. As you can see, we're in the middle of a minyan. They are finishing the minyan. It'll be over in a second, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Patience for a second. Bear with me. It's nice to see this minyan, right? It's a gorgeous minyan. Lots of nice people here, all davening in unison, saying Kaddish. This is the last Kaddish of the Omer before Lag BaOmer tonight. They light the bonfire outside the shul here. Now it's officially Ma'ariv. Mincha has ended. All the minyan have ended. Now officially Lag BaOmer. How you doing? All right, so let's continue. Let's pick it up now. It's a little quieter here. So the Gemara says, we only say that L'kula Chumra, but L'kula, we're going to say that? We're going to say that he could eat Truma, Mi Amriyan, Safek Isha, who in Isha Mikadeshus Isha. Here's a fundamental line in the Gemara. Maybe the first case, right, where the Tumtum is Makadesh a woman, maybe he's a woman. Can a woman Makadesh another woman? Of course, there's no Kedushin in a woman and a woman. Now the other case where the man is Makadesh a Tumtum, right, the Gemara doesn't say, can a man be Makadesh a man? Why not? That will be talked about in Ian with Sion. We're going to get into some crazy political stuff over here. It's going to be marriages between a man and a woman, between a man and a man and a woman and a woman. We're going to weigh in on that, and the Gemara weighs in on it over here, and it's going to be explained to answer a fundamental question in the Gemara. So the Gemara answers, Hamrabai, two answers. He says this price is talking about he's not completely covered, meaning his testicles are revealed. Penis is not. So therefore the testicles are revealed. So therefore you know for sure he's a man. And that's what the Bryce is talking about. he doesn't have a milah. We know he's a man, right? He's a man, so his wives can eat because he's married to the woman, but he doesn't have a bris milah because it's not revealed. He didn't rip open the skin, so he didn't do a bris milah, so he's an arel, so he can't eat. Rava Amar, a different answer. My nashav imo. Nashav is not his wives, it means his mother. Now it's hard to understand Rava because he says nashav is plural, his wives. Imo is singular, his mother, and it also says wives, it doesn't say his mother. We're going to answer that and see an imo pshita. All it means, Rava says, that imo, it doesn't mean that his wives get to eat, his mother gets to eat. Meaning, if a Kohen married Israelis and the husband died and the Israelis had a child who was a tumtum, she gets to eat even though he's not, it doesn't matter if he's a boy or a girl. She has a child from that, so therefore she's still part of Mishpachas Kohen. She gets to eat on his account. Not that he gets to eat because he might be an Aro. So then it says, Imo Pshita, according to Rav, Imo is a Pashat, Mao the same, Molid, Maichal, Shein Molid, Maichal. You might think only someone who has the capability of giving birth to a child could empower his mother to eat. But if he doesn't have a capability of having children, he wouldn't be empower his mother. Kamash Malah, no. We still say that he's considered zera for his mother, and therefore should eat on his account. Tashma tumtum eno ochel lo b'truma lo b'kadshim. The end of the Bryce says that tumtum can't eat not truma, not kashim. Bishlam alabai tana reisha. It really mentions the same thing tumtum twice. That he doesn't need truma. So bishlam alabai according to the Abai tana reisha arel vadai v'kasani seifa. Suffolk Arel. The race is talking about where his baits him when he karos bachutz, where you know he's for sure a man, and you know he's for sure he doesn't have a bris milah. And the Seifa is even a chedesh where he's a Suffolk Arel, he doesn't get to eat. That's why it says it twice. El Rava, tumtum the Seifa lamali. Why does it say tumtum a second time? It's to say there's only one case. My tumtum Arel. So tumtum just means that he's an Arel, that it's a Suffolk whether he had a bris milah or not. So Matash the Suffolk Arel lo achel vale Arel achel. Originally, Gemara thought this means that the tumtum in the Sefer is not talking about a tumtum; it's talking about actually someone who has a penis, but it's not a bris milah. So the Gemara says if you went to the Reisha says a Suffolk doesn't eat, surely a Vada is not going to eat. So the Gemara answer is no. It's really one thing. Matam kar matam tumtum eno ochel b'truma. It's a Suffolk Arel hu Arel eno ochel b'truma below b'kadshim. The reason of the Reisha the Suffolk doesn't eat is because an Arel doesn't eat truma and kadshim. Just an explanation. Lema Gitanai. Say it's Machlokes Tanoim, Rav Huna, what he said with a Mashach Midrabanan needs to have another Mila in order to eat Truma. Mashach Vigershnis Gayak Shumol, a Mashach for that case. Vigershnis Gayak Shumol, a convert, he converted when he already had a bris milah, let's say in the hospital when he was born, they gave him a bris milah. The Katan Sha'avar Zmano, the Katan who was supposed to be mole on the 8th day, we went to the 9th day, 10th day. Shar Kalani Mulim and other types of people that need a bris milah. Lasuye, what is that coming to include? He has 2 foreskins, one on top of another, or people, I don't know if it's possible. The article says that you could have 2 penises and you have 2 foreskins. Ain't any molin el b'yom. Tanakama says they only have a bris milah during the day. Just like someone on the 8th day, they only have a bris milah on the 8th day. Not at night. It says uvayom. The vav is coming through all these other people that are not a normal type of milah. They also have to be only during the day. That's Rabbi Shimon Omer bismano. If the milah was done on the 8th day, any molin el bayom, just like a regular bris milah, it's only during the day on the 8th day. El bayom, I'm based on the top. Shalom bismana, but if they're not during the 8th day, ni molin bayom uvalayla, you could even do the bris milah at night. So my lab what's the machlokas between Tanakama and Rolazar? The Marsavar Mashach Del Raisa, Marsavar Mashach Del Rabbanan. One holds that a Mashach needs a bris milah from the Torah, and therefore a Mashach has to do it like the concept of the Torah, only during the day. And the other one holds Mashach Del Rabbanan, and therefore you can do it at night. Rolazar Rabbi Shimon, Rolazar Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon. So the Gemara says both opinions would hold. Like Rav Huna, one's the Raisa, one's the Rabbanan. Tispura, Katan Shavar Zmana, meaning the Rabbanan would hold like Rav Huna, and the Raisa would be like no one we saw until now. So the Gemara says, Tispura, this doesn't make sense. Katan Shavar Zmana, Mi'ikalamanda Amr the Rabbanan. If a Katan, a regular child's born, and the 8th day passes, he hasn't had a bris milah, it's still the Raisa, Chiv the bris milah, it's not the Rabbanan. All these cases are grouped together. Ella the Chulei Alma Mashach the Rabbanan. The Katan Shavar Zmana the Raisa. Mashach is the Rabbanan, like Rav Huna said. He's chayav to get a bris milah the Rabbanan. Maybe he can't eat truma. Maybe the Gemara concedes he's allowed to eat truma, but he still needs a bris milah the Rabbanan. I think that's the pshara to understand how The Gemara brought Tiyufta to Rav Huna. We disproved Rav Huna. Technically, he could eat truma, but he's still mechuyev to get a bris milah d'Rabbanan. Katan Shabbat Zman do rice. Obviously, a katan in past this time is the rice. What's the machlokas in Tanakama and Elazar ben Shimon? Marsar v'darshin uvayom. Marsar v'darshin uvayom. Tanakama holds you darshan the vav. That other cases of milah are just like a regular case of milah. It always has to be during the day. Marsar v'darshin uvayom. The other Elazar ben Shimon doesn't darshan uvayom. Kihad Yosef, like exactly the story. The Yosef of Yochanan Kedarish. Rabbi Yochanan was dorish a similar halacha. Nosar, about nosar. Nosar is karbanos that were left over that weren't eaten in their proper time. You have, for example, some karbanos have a day and a night to eat them, a night and a day to eat them, a day and a night. Some karbanos you have a day and a night and a day. You left over, you didn't eat it after that time. You have to burn it the next day, right? If you had a day and a night to eat it, you have to burn it the next morning. Nosar bismano eno nisraf el bayom. Right, nosar when it's first left over, so it's that next day. It's only burnt during the day. Once it's already passed that first daytime to burn it, you pass. So then you could burn it during the day and at night. Rabbi Elazar asked the following question of Rabbi Yochanan: "Eli ala nimol l'shmini she'ein nimol ela b'yom." Minan the rabbis l'tisha l'asar l'achad asar l'shnei masar. Hamalom ubayom. He says. Shmini, it says Ubayom Shmini has to be during the day. How do you know that someone who's not gonna have a bris milah on the 8th day has a bris milah on the 9th, 10th, right after the original date? How do you know it also has to also be during the day? It says Ubayom. The vav comes to tell you just like the 8th day milah has to be during the day. Also, a 9th day milah also has to be during the day. Now, I feel mandal darish vav, even if you're not darish of vav v'hei darish. By nosar it says v'hanosar. So the hay would be dorish, so you have to be only during the day. So Rav Yochanan would say you could burn it shlo b'zmana, you can burn it, you could eat it, you can burn it even at night. What's he going to do with that? So Ishtik, he's obviously wrong, Rabbi Yochanan. Basar denafak, Amalei Rabbi Yochanan, Reish Lakish, once Rabbi Elazar left, Rabbi Yochanan said to Reish Lakish, Ra'isa ben Padas, Yoshev v'dorish kamosh bi'aguru. He said about Elazar, his name was Elazar ben Padas. He says, he's like he got a Kabbalah from Moshe Rabbeinu and Har Sinai. Amalei Reish Lakish, Didehi, it's not from him, Mastisahi, it's a Brisa, Heichatanalai. So where did he learn it from? The Torah's Kohanim. He learned Torah's Kohanim, which is a collection of Brisas about Sefer Vayikra. Nafak Tanya Betlasa Yomi. Based on that, Rabbi Yochanan he learned all of Torah's Kohanim in 3 days. V'savra Betlasa Yarthi. In 3 months, he went into the depths and understood the depths of Torah's Kohanim in 3 months. It took him to calculate it. Amar Elazar, now we're shifting gears to another halacha. Amar Elazar, Arel Shehiza Hazasok Sheira. An Arel, we talked about before, if he gets Hazah done on him, he has Tameh, could Hazah have effect from a Tumas Mace have effect on him while he's an Arel? What about if he does the Hazah on somebody else? It's a good Ksher, Hazah Sak Ksher, Elazar says. Midi the Hava Tful Yom. We learned the same thing by Tful Yom. Tful Yom is somebody who has Tuma and he went to the mikvah, but it hasn't Seis Kal Chavim yet, it hasn't reached nightfall, so therefore there's certain halachas that he can't eat Truma yet. You can't eat truma until nightfall. Kosher b'para, tvul yom. It's kosher to sprinkle the para duma, the mechatas on people. Mal tvul yom. So the Gemara rejects it. Mal tvul yom. Shekin mutter b'maiser. Tvul yom. There's reason to be makel over there because even though he can't eat truma, he could eat maiser sheni. Atu. So the Gemara says, is that a good rejection? Atu anan la'achila kamrina, anan lagia kamrina. Here we're talking about someone aral sprinkling the mechatas, the paraduma on somebody else. So we're talking about negia. He can't bring a raya from what he's able to eat. Matzvul yom she'aser b'negia the truma. Tvul yom, not like he can't eat truma, he can't touch truma. We're going to prove later on. Mutter b'para, he's allowed to sprinkle the paraduma. Arel she'mutter b'negia, and arel we're going to prove later on can touch truma. Din she'mutter b'para. Certainly, kal v'chomer she'mutter, he should be able to sprinkle the paraduma on somebody else. Hani nami hachig, we learn the Bryce like this. Arel shehiza hazasa kshera, like Rav Elazar said, it is kshera. Umaisa haya, there was a certain incident. Kshera chum hazasa, it actually happened. The chum said it was a good hazah. Mesive tumtum shekidesh kidusha pasal tumtum. Right? We know what a tumtum is. He was makadesh. Not that he was makadesh a woman here. He mixed the ashes of the paraduma in the mechatas in the water. He put them together. He made the concoction. It's kidusha pasal. It's not a good concoction. Mipnei shehu safik arel. Because he might be an arel, he might be a man and not have a bris milah. Arel pasal lakadesh, and arel can't be Makadesh Mechatas. If androgynous, Shakidesh, Kiddush of Kosher. But if you're androgynous or hermaphrodite, you have both genitals, so then it would be a good Kiddusha. Because he had a bris milah ostensibly. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Af androgynous, Shakidesh, Kiddush of Psul. Rabbi Yehuda argues and he says, even his mixing would make it possible. Nesha Safek Isha, because he might be a woman, Isha Psula Malakadesh. And only a man can be Makadesh who mix the paraduma waters, and not a woman. Kasani Mias Aral, the Safek Aral. Apostle Malakadesh. So you see, the Brisa says clearly that if you're an Aral or even a Safek Aral, you can't be Makadesh to Mechatas. And part of sprinkling the paraduma waters, being Makadesh, it is the same thing, halachically. Basically having any interaction with the paraduma waters, mixing it or sprinkling it would have the same din. So the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Yosef, Hi Tana Tana to be Rabbi Akiva here. This Tana, this author of the Brisa, says also is Rabbi Akiva here. The Marbile La'aral Ketame. We had a Malchus in Lezer and Rabbi Akiva originally. Why is an Aral can't eat truma? According to Rabbi Lezer, we said it's a tosha of the Sachar, Gzir Sharvan Pesach. And Rabbi Akiva learns it out from Ish, that just like Zav and Metzora can't eat truma, an Aral also can't eat truma. So he makes an Aral like a tummy person, like a Zav and Metzora. So therefore, a tummy person obviously can't touch the paraduma. He makes a tummy. The Sanya Rabbi Akiva Omer Ishesh LaRabbos Aral. I'm a Rabba. How you sitting like made Rabbi Yosef? Rabba said I was sitting for Rabbi Yosef. Kashali, I had a question on this. Lo lishtami tana v'lisni Aral v'atame. V'lema Rabbi Akiva. Why did it only say about an Aral who is mekadesh the mechatas? He makes it possible. He should have mentioned a tummy also, and say in the name of Rabbi Akiva. That's Rabbi Akiva's famous shita to equate an Aral and a tummy. Why did it only say Aral and leave out tummy? Should say somewhere that Rabbi Akiva equates an Aral with a tummy. The Gemara says, "Well, is this not true?" It does say somewhere else. It says in the Mishnah in Chagiga, beginning of Chagiga, it says, if you're not circumcised, you're a tummy mace, you're patur from going to the Re'iyah. So you see it's the same equation. That must be Rabbi Akiva. And whereas there, it's not because of Tuma. The Aral is not because he's like a tummy person, it's because he's repugnant, he's disgusting, and he's an Arla. Tummy person is also disgusting, not because he has a din of Tuma. Tummy is also because he's repugnant, not because of the actual Tuma itself, which doesn't allow him to go into the Beis Hamikdash. That's why he's patur min Re'iyah over there. So that's not Rabbi Akiva. So we haven't found a place where Rabbi Akiva is stated explicitly. So it can't be that's a good answer to say that it's Rabbi Akiva. So that's the end of this discussion for now. Tomorrow we're going to get into this machlokes about the Makadesh, the Mechatas, the Tumtum and Androgynous, Rabbi Yehuda and the Chachamim. Hope you enjoyed today's shir. I know it was a little loud, but it's Lag BaOmer over here. Tonight is the eve of Lag BaOmer. It's rowdy over here. It's wild in Israel. People actually made a rule here in Israel. You can't have bonfires, but if you talk to the right people, you can have it. See you, Neo Ben Sion, coming up next.